Hello. How is everyone? Myself mostly. We're on day 3 now. Technically missed another day, but it was like a half day again, so here we are, trying to make up for it. It's not so easy doing these every day. I really thought it wouldn't be that hard. But here, it's quite challenging, because I have other things that I'm doing. Trying to find 15 minutes to film a video. Sometimes it feels so fucking daunting. It's okay. In the growth phase, as long as we just keep trying, A quote that I heard rather recently that I really enjoyed said that if you miss one day, that's fine, get over it, pick yourself up, get back to it the next day. If you miss 2 days, that's the start of a new habit. That's what I'm trying to avoid, at least in the beginning, before it's become an actual habit of doing it every day. Don't miss 2 days in a row. Here we are, day 3 out of 5, not 2 days in a row. So last video, I was talking a bit about my attempts at outreaching. Today, I wanted to discuss a little bit what I've been reading and what business I've specifically been trying to start for a few months now, off and on. So we'll start with, I've been reading a bunch of books and podcasts lately about business. And this week I was rereading one really called $1 Million Weekend by Noah someone or other. He was a dude who used to work at Facebook and then got fired because he leaked some company secrets and they didn't like that. As you might imagine, which makes perfect sense. So he got fired and he was really depressed about that, and then he realized that he still had the skill of working hard and doing other things, so he went off to start a whole bunch of other business ideas. He's done a lot in his life, according to his book intro, and after all of these things that he's tried, he's realized, well, hey, I'm actually pretty good at starting businesses, so why don't I write a book about it? So there he goes. He wrote a book about it, and it's a pretty fascinating book. I haven't finished it yet. I read it once before. Me and my wife were reading it. We got halfway and decided to put into practice the things which we were reading. We didn't do a very good job of that, so we never finished the book. And recently I picked it up again and did exactly the same. I got about halfway and I was like, oh, I like these things. I really got to put into practice the things that I'm reading. And then I haven't finished the last half yet. But I wanted to talk about the first half because I think it's really interesting. It's very simple. It's aggravatingly simple, the way he describes it. Because he just describes it just like, just do these things and you'll start the business. And I've tried a couple times and it's not working. It makes it a little frustrating occasionally. A little frustrating. So, his book is about how to start businesses, as you might imagine. It's called $1 Million Weekend. The premise of the book is that you only need 48 hours to validate an idea in order to start a business. So naturally you might be wondering, well, what's involved in those 48 hours? So I think it's a little longer than 48 hours, but what he suggests is generating an idea and then validating that idea. To start the book, he begins discussing his philosophy around doing things, which is to just do things, not question so much how you're going to do the thing. That advice is really valuable to me in particular, because I am criminal at just analyzing things to death, thinking about doing the thing, and either getting excited about thinking about doing the thing, or getting nervous about thinking about doing the thing, and neither of those are actually doing the thing. Right? So, this particular philosophy is really intriguing to me. It's something that I would like to adopt a little bit more in my life. So I was a big fan. So he says, now his philosophy is stated as now, not how. He says, just begin, and then we'll figure out how to optimize it later. He gives a couple of examples of how he does this. One of his examples is he was talking to one of his co-workers, and they had an idea. They were like, what if we sold discount cards to students on his university campus? And they're like, well, I don't know how that would work. And he said, whoa, let's just go downtown to a couple businesses and see if it's something they would want to do. So they spent an afternoon going door to door to business places and offering discount cards for students. And they were able to generate some interest, so they made the cards and sold them, and he said they got up to $50,000 in revenues. I don't know what period that was over. I can't remember if he stated or not. Perhaps I just forgot. That's really fucking cool. And I think it exemplifies exactly what he's talking about. Other times, I'm sure you would do that, and there would be no interest, in which case he suggests pick another idea and try again next weekend. Then the second part of the first chapter is how he talks about how you're going to experience rejection. Rejection is a natural part of any sort of asking process, especially in sales. And he shares an anecdote about him and his father, which I rather quite kind of cute. When he was talking about his father going around selling copiers, and he would go to businesses to try to sell his copy machine, and more often than not get rejected. And he, as a young boy, had to follow his father around watching him get rejected and asked him, how can you handle all these rejections? His father replied, I love these rejections, because every rejection I get teaches me, 1, how to not sell, and 2, makes me one step closer to my next sale, because eventually I will get a yes if I ask enough times. I really liked that phrasing. I hadn't seen it before. I think I wrote it down in my personal notebook, and I was like, you can rephrase that to say that you're just X rejections away from your next yes. And one thing he points out, which is rather interesting, is that if you stop, say you're 10 rejections away from your next sale, and if you stop at 9 rejections, all 9 of those rejections will feel terrible and have meant nothing, because you won't get the one sale. So that's why you've heard probably in my last few videos that the only failing is giving up, because I really like this mentality. I really do like this mentality. It's I feel like the only losing is quitting, because if you just keep trying, eventually you will find something that works. So then he moves on to chapter 2, where he talks about the specifics of starting his businesses. He shares an example that he had to do for one of his courses he was teaching, where his students were grumbling about how difficult it was. And so they challenged him to start a business. He had to earn $1,000 in profit in 24 hours with their generated idea. So the idea that they ended up telling him to use was beef jerky. He had to sell beef jerky in 24 hours to make $1,000 in profit. And he fucking succeeded, which is kind of incredible to have to sell someone else's idea and be able to do it just like that. I mean, obviously I assume the story is true. I assume he would just lie. That would be pretty shitty. Assuming it's true, I think that really shows the power of kind of what he's talking about. He uses some knowledge that he's gained throughout the years of business, but that's stuff that you're going to learn as you go. He has right that access. So, he says, pick an idea. Generally start with something that is in your sphere of influence. So for my example, for example, pick something like pickleball or business something that helps businesses because that's what you're interested in and that's what your circles are, or in the auto body industry, that's what our circles are. We already know people in those circles. We have clients potentially waiting to be sold to. And then he says, make a list of 10 people that you would like to sell to, your ideal customers, and then try and sell it. And if it doesn't work, then you start again the next weekend and try and sell it. He says that 3 sales specifically is quite difficult. The first 2 are okay. You can get someone who's close to you, you can get someone who's in your family, and then the 3rd sale usually is someone that you don't know. Can't speak to the truth of that statement, but it makes some sense. I'll keep an eye on it as I go, as I attempt more sales in the future. Oh, he gives very actionable advice for how to pick ideas as well. So not only do you pick ideas that are in your sphere of influence, but also, he says, go into Google and go to Facebook. You can find on Facebook ads, if you're clever using the ad software, you can find an approximate audience size for a given topic. So I did one, for example, for pickleball shoes. How many people searched pickleball shoes in the last month on Google? And so you search that keyword, or those keywords, on Facebook and Google. And on Google, you're looking for an upward trend. You're looking for a market that's growing, ideally, but at least not shrinking. And on Facebook, it does tell you an average audience size for that kind of thing. So I found one that was pickleball shoes. Turns out 49,000 people had searched pickleball shoes in the last month in just Canada and the US. And then the goal of that exercise is that you're trying to find $1 million idea, because the book is called $1 Million Weekend. Right? It doesn't have to be a $1 million idea, but this is just what he's doing because of the book's title. So what you would do is you take your expected profits in dollars, multiply it by the number of audience members that you found on Facebook, and you would see if that number equals $1 million. As an example, if you had pickleball shoes that you could sell for $100, and you could buy them from a supplier for $30 a piece, you would make $70. Multiply that by, let's say, 50,000 for easy math. 7 times 5, that's 335, so that's 50,000, that's $3.5 million. That's $1 million idea, if you can pull it off. That's his premise. I think it's very specific, it's very actionable. I've done it a couple times myself, so I like the idea. It's turned me away from a couple other ideas where the profit margins are very low or the audience is just very low. It's too niche of a market, for example. So that's cool. That's been very interesting. I've been thinking about those ones. And then after you have your idea, it says you just have 48 hours. You just got to pick some people to sell to. You make your list of 10 people, your ideal people in your life that you can sell to, and then you can start selling it. You can cold call people, you can go door-to-door knocking, you can use emails, phone calls, text messages, whatever. Just try and sell it. Get people excited about your idea. And the other very important point he says is the promise of payment is not validation. If you reach out to someone and you say, hey, I want to sell these pickleball shoes for $100, and they're like, that sounds awesome, I would totally buy them. That is not the same as you reaching out to that person and saying, hey, give me $100 right now for pickleball shoes and I'll find you them. If they actually give you the money, that's validation. I like this because it's so fucking true. People will promise you and tell you things that you want to hear sometimes. They'll just tell you what you want to hear. Yeah. And then they'll just not do it when the time comes. And yeah, that's a good way to get yourself in the hole if you end up getting a bunch of promises, spending a bunch of money, and then nobody actually follows through on that promise. So, it's very wise advice in my books. And that's where I've gotten to in the book. The next section of the book is about growing, but I haven't read it yet. It seems rather pointless to read about growing something when I haven't yet anything to grow. You know what I'm saying? It's very easy to spend hours and hours consuming content and reading books and watching videos about all the things you should do, how to grow your business from $10,000 to $1 million, but you have to have a $10,000 business before you can grow it to $1 million. The things that I would learn there, while useful in the future, perhaps don't have as much meaning to me right now because I don't actually have it. So I've stopped there, and I'm going to attempt to use his model to actually sell. That'll be the goal. That'll be the goal. You guys will be the first to find out when I actually sell something. I'm sure I'll be so excited I'll talk about it. Yeah, in general, I really like the book. I don't have any complaints about it yet. So, big fan. I'll let you know if any of those come up. So, last week I tried to do pickleball shoes. It didn't go very well. Sorry, that is the one thing so that's the major thing that I'm struggling with right now. The idea generation, that's fine, that's easy. Coming up with a business plan, that's honestly not that hard, it's pretty easy. Trying to sell things is so fucking hard for me. It just makes me not want to do it, and it's unreasonable. Because in my job, day to day, I'm talking to people about repairs, or previously when I worked at the car rental place, and I was one of the primary things you do there is you sell insurance. It was easy for me, and I enjoyed it, actually. In the car rental company, there was like a leaderboard. You would get a score every time you sold car insurance, and compared against your coworkers, and there was you didn't win anything that day, but if you got enough in the month, you would go to a special dinner. If you were in a certain category, you'd get a special award and a plaque, and it was really fun. And it was like a bit of a game. And I want to get to that point, but I'm having such a struggle going from my business idea that I've generated to selling it. I'm not 100% sure why. That in itself has been part of the struggle. It's trying to figure out where the disconnect is. But yeah. I think I'll be good at it when I can get there, because I was usually in the top 50 sales in PC for the rental company. So yeah. So the thing that I'm going to sell right now is a skill that I've been working on lately. I've been learning AI automation. I think I'll talk about that in tomorrow's video because I'm already running a little bit over time here. I didn't think it would take this long. I'll talk about the specifics of what I've been learning, but basically I want to go to businesses, door to door, and I want to say, hey, I want to automate these boring processes for you. Is that something you'd be interested in? This is what I alluded to earlier in the video. Like I said, I was doing cold emailing. I was doing cold emailing for what I was trying to sell, which was automation, and had 0 successes. So I would like to talk to people in person, because I think that one of the struggles is for this specific thing that I'm selling, automation. It's very difficult to sell because people don't understand it. Because I barely understand it. Yeah, so it's very hard to sell something to someone if you don't understand what you're trying to sell to them. In fact, being a salesperson is more or less just informing the other person of why people what you are selling, in my experience. So that's that's what we're gonna work on. Today is Friday. That means tomorrow's a weekend. So I'm gonna try do some door knocking. Fingers crossed, I'll get at least a few doors knocked. I do have things to do, which fill up my weekend quickly, as they always do. Once again, that struggle between doing what you're supposed to do and not doing the things you're not supposed to do. It's very hard, because usually the things that you are not supposed to do are the things that you want to do. Oh well. I'll get to it this weekend, always next weekend. Well, thanks for listening, guys. I will head out for tonight. You have one.